Hi, my name is Jim Kwik of Kwik Learning, and I'm here to help you to learn quickly with my memory quick tips. Now, there are 3 reasons why people forget things, and I call it MOM, M-O-M. The first M stands for motivation. And what I mean by that is this. Let's say you have trouble remembering someone's name, but there's a suitcase here of $100,000 cash for you or your favorite charity. If you just remember the person's name, are you going to remember it? Of course you are. The O is observation. It's not your retention, it's your attention. A lot of times you're out, you're meeting somebody for business, but you find yourself looking over their shoulder to see who else is in the room, and you're distracted, and people feel that, right? People aren't forgetting the name, they're just not hearing the name to begin with. And finally, the other M in MOM stands for mechanics. And I don't mean the person that's going to fix your car, I mean the tools, the techniques, the strategies that we teach on how to remember a name, how to learn a language, how to give a speech without notes, how to read faster. But if you don't have the motivation or the observation, the mechanic's not going to work. Now, let me give you 7 mechanics, 7 tips on how to remember the names of every single person that you meet. I want you to remember this: be suave. Be suave, right? So next time you're at a networking event, you're at a conference, if you will, and you're checking the mirror, you're checking your tie, you're checking your makeup, I want you to say to yourself, I'm going to be suave. The B stands for believe. Your mind is like a supercomputer, and your self-talk is the program it will run. So if you tell yourself you are not good at remembering names, you will not remember the name of the next person you meet because you programmed your supercomputer not to. Remember, your mind is always eavesdropping on your self-talk, so keep it positive, all right? So believe. The E in Be Suave stands for exercise. What I mean by that is practice, practice. Because practice makes what? Practice makes progress, right? Not perfect, but progress. The S in Suave stands for say. You say the person's name. You meet someone for the first time, they give their name, and you call them by name. Now, the U in Suave stands for use the name. You want to use the name. Now you want to use it, you don't want to abuse it. You want to use it 3 or 4 times in the context of the conversation, and that will help you to remember. Now the A in Suave stands for ask. Ask. Because what's everyone's favorite subject? It happens to be what? Themselves. So if you meet somebody and their name is especially unusual, like a name you haven't met before, you haven't heard it before, then you ask about a person's name. What can you ask? You could ask, how do you spell it? Where is it from? What does it mean? The V stands for visualize. Visualize. What do I mean by that? How many of you are much better with faces than you are with names? Of course, right? You go to someone and say, I remember your face, but I forgot your name. You never go to someone and say the opposite. You never go to someone and say, hey, I remember your name, but I forgot your face. That wouldn't make a lot of sense, right? The reason why you remember the face is because that part of your brain is larger, your visual cortex. And there's a Chinese proverb that goes, what I hear, I forget. What I see, I remember. And what I do, I understand. What I hear, I forget. I heard the name, I forgot the name. What I see, I remember. I saw the face, I remember the face. And what I do, coming back to practice and exercise, I understand, right? And so what you want to do is, if you tend to remember what you see, then try seeing what you want to remember. So if you meet someone named Mike, imagine for a split second that person is jumping on the table and singing karaoke on a microphone, right? And you're like, that's really childish. And that's the reason why it works. So a person's name is Mark. Imagine you're meeting them, in a split second, put a check mark right on their forehead. You don't share this with Mark, of course. Person's name is David. Imagine a slingshot, right? David and Goliath. Person's name is Carol. Imagine their Christmas carol. Imagine someone named Mary, and they're holding 2 lambs underneath their arm or getting married. All right. A person's name is John. You can imagine what you imagine. Finally, the E in Suave stands for end. It stands for end, meaning you end using their name at the end of the conversation. Hadley, it's great to meet you. Martin, it's been a pleasure. Anthony, have a great day. Because if you could walk into a room of 10, 15, 20 strangers and leave saying goodbye to every single one of them by name, then they're all going to remember you. These are my quick tips. I wish your days be full of lots of life and lots of love, lots of laughter, and always lots of learning. Be unforgettable.